Good afternoon. I'm happy to see that almost everyone I see is awake. Post lunch is always a challenge. Thank you, Goel sir, for giving me the most difficult job. Vice Admiral R. Swaminathan, Vice Admiral Narayan Prasad ji, Air Vice Marshal Jain Sahab, Major General Rakesh Panocha, Dr. Sanjay Kumar Jha, and Shri Pradeep Goyal ji. Ladies and gentlemen, I attend this function in two capacities. One, as President of Society of Indian Defence Manufacturers, and second, as Chairman of few companies in Mahindra Group. Let me first share the perspective from SIDM. We have a membership of more than 500 of large, medium and small companies. Very often it is assumed that defense is about large companies. There are 10-15 large companies in our membership, but majority of companies are MSMEs. No large company which is a producer, integrator of large platforms can actually succeed unless it receives parts, components and sub-assemblies from hundreds of MSMEs. A simple example, if you are making an SUV like a Scorpio, you know that Mahindra makes them. But the truth is, every vehicle will have someone supplying headlights, someone supplying tail light, someone supplying brakes, someone windscreen, another person windscreen wiper, seats and seat covers, wheels and hubcaps. There are dozens of suppliers who contribute before a vehicle is made possible. Supply chain goes farther than that. These MSMEs who are supplying parts and components into a vehicle, they themselves are dependent on their raw material suppliers, who could be steel, steel alloys, aluminium, copper, brass. It is an entire supply chain. The world is getting more and more interconnected. Gone are the days when companies tried to do everything in-house. Today, large companies are dependent on medium and small companies, and they in turn are dependent once again on other large companies who are supplying them material. Relationships have become far more complex, and it is in that context that regular interactions between the companies in vendor-customer ecosystem have to take place. I am so happy that this conference is trying to bring together the ultimate user as well as producer as well as vendors to that producer. All three are inevitably part of the chain who must interact with each other, give feedback to each other to make the system efficient and robust. We encourage people to become part of SIDM, not only that they will supply to defense forces. Supplies to defense forces will perhaps be made by a dozen or so companies. Everybody cannot be making aircraft, helicopters, tanks or submarines. But there are hundreds who will be supplying to these few, and together they will make in India ecosystem for defense. Coming to the focus of conference, which is on materials, there are one or two things I would like to highlight. Increasingly, I find that materials are likely to become more and more critical part of any supply chain. Simplest example I will give you, that there can be a daily bread manufacturing plant. Once upon a time it was a big thing. I remember Modern Bread started making bread in India, in NCR. That was the first bread plant. Before that you made roti, chapati, fulka, what are known as flat breads at home. But modern bread can do nothing unless wheat or wheat flour supply is there. We have many pharmaceutical companies making final formulations. They can do nothing if bulk drugs are not available. And many of these bulk drugs are imported in our country, majority of them from China. If bulk drug supply is interrupted for any reason, the pharmaceutical companies in India will get hampered in making their own formulations. The same story repeats for defense. So now I switch over to my role as chairman of Mahindra Defense, Mahindra Aerospace, and few other defense companies. We make aerostructures and aircraft frames. They all depend on special alloys and aluminium, including titanium. Very few of them are available in the country. Rest are imported. We convert them into parts, components, and structures, and they become part of supply chain of every major OEM, Airbus, Boeing, all the largest companies in the world. But there is critical dependence